Welcome to Rathalos Watch. Today, I am going to be rating the visual design of Arkveld from Monster Hunter Wilds based on a 10-point scaling system that's divided into 5 different categories. The 5 categories are Intimidation, Fantasy, Color Scheme, Originality, and Silhouette. Once each category has been rated, I'll combine all 5 scores to determine the final score for the monster's visual design. Without further ado, let's begin. Intimidation. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. There's nothing realistic or grounded about Arkveld, and since he's a flagship monster, I am making an exception and creating a new category for the series as a whole moving forward, so there's no more confusion. This category is called Intimidation. The first time I saw Arkveld, I knew right away that this monster meant business. I believe a flagship monster should instill a strong sense of fear and presence, and Arkveld nails that perfectly. For me, it's all about his almost entirely monochrome white appearance and those 4 chain-like appendages he uses as weapons. I'm sure there's a deeper story behind these chains that we'll uncover when we'll finally get to play the game. It's clear that Arkveld is at the top of the food chain and will invade any locale he wants, hunting down other apex predators like Rathalos. He's basically the apex of all apexes, which gives him a much higher and more significant status. Hunting a regular apex is one thing, but taking on the big boss apex is a whole different level. It should make you feel terrified, and the fight should be much more challenging than facing someone like Rathalos or Uthduna. In short, Arkveld is so intimidating that he's earned the nickname the White Wraith. Fun fact, did you know there's also a Rolls-Royce model called the White Wraith? Anyways, the Intimidation category will be getting a rating of 10 out of 10. Fantasy. Arkveld's concept is amazing. He's basically the Kratos of Monster Hunter Wilds. I found it hilarious when the trailer showed him battling Rathalos, who has lightning powers. It felt like they were going for a Kratos versus Thor vibe. And you know what? I'm all for it because I'm a huge fan of the modern God of War games. His 4 chain-like appendages are basically the chains of Olympus. Now we as hunters get to take on the God of War himself in Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm definitely excited to face off against a chain-wielding flagship monster. Something else I noticed is that his body kind of reminds me of Seregios. I'm not sure if it's the claws or the type of scales that he has, but there's a resemblance. We have no idea where Seregios comes from, and we also don't know anything about Arkveld's origins. This adds a cool element of mystery, like we're discovering new places where these monsters might come from. I love the sense of the unknown. It makes the fantasy even more thrilling. The fantasy category will be getting a rating of 10 out of 10. Color scheme. Arkveld's color palette is remarkably simple, as he's essentially monochromatic. Surprisingly, I find myself appreciating this choice, given that villagers and hunters refer to him as the White Wraith. It makes perfect sense why he bears this name. His predominantly white appearance, accented by subtle shades of gray, embodies it completely. Usually, I prefer monsters with more contrasting colors. However, in Arkveld's case, the contrast comes not from his base coloration, but from the vibrant purple glow that envelops his body when he enters combat, as well as the 4 chain-like appendages beneath his wings. These unique features set him apart from many other monsters and add an intriguing layer to his design. The color scheme category will be getting a rating of 10 out of 10. Originality. I believe that Arkveld is quite creative. What makes him truly stand out are the 4 appendages that are attached right under his wings, as I previously said many times, and his monochrome coloring. And I also like how his horns are kind of curled. His fantasy of also utilizing his 4 chains adds a huge factor to his originality. I don't know of any monsters that have anything like that, to be honest, at least in the mainline Monster Hunter titles. There is a key art image of him where you can see all the 4 appendages on display, and it looks absolutely glorious. In terms of visual design, he really does look memorable. It's nice to have a flagship monster who is going to be using other parts of his body instead of just the body itself, legs, claws, like most other flagships do. In terms of originality compared to previous flagships such as Velkhana and Nergigante, I'd say he has 100% earned that title. Nergigante just looks like another run-of-the-mill horned elder dragon that acts more like a flying wyvern rather than anything else. Meanwhile, Velkhana is like that older queen that you meet in some fantasy ice castle who has complete control over ice. Don't get me wrong, I am not dismissing those monsters by any means. I like them the way they are, but if I'm going to be comparing them to Arkveld, I'm going to have to say that he just seems way more original and interesting than previous flagships. Overall, I think he's quite the original flagship monster that is going to spice up the gameplay and give us a varied and engaging fight based on everything we could see in the trailer. That may change when the game comes out, but we will worry about it when the time comes. However, the small issue I have with him is that he seems to be another flying wyvern style monster, and we already had so many of those as flagships. Perhaps a different class monster would have been a bit more original. The originality category will be getting a rating of 9 out of 10. Silhouette. We don't know what type of a class Arkveld belongs to. Some say he is a flying wyvern, others think he is an elder dragon, and we won't know until we play the game. So what I've decided to do is compare his silhouette to monsters such as Nergigante and Volcana, since both are flagships of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne. Nergigante, on the other hand, has a face shape that is similar to Diablo's, in my opinion, due to his horns, so it can be a bit easier to get confused. However, the jack spikes on his tail and wings are probably his most unique looking features that makes him easy to tell apart from other monsters when it comes to his silhouette. Volcana also has a fantastic silhouette thanks to her beautiful wide wings and a long skinny tail. Her body is very elegant looking and kind of resembles a classical European ice dragon. Very easy to recognize, which means it makes recognizing Arkveld even easier. Arkveld has a very unique silhouette and it's very easy to tell him apart from everyone else because of his chain-like appendages. As soon as you see the 4 chains, you immediately know who it is without even having a second thought. The silhouette category will be getting a rating of 10 out of 10. Final rating. In conclusion, I think Arkveld is the perfect fit for a flagship monster and has a lot going for him. His badass monochrome coloring with purple glowing accents, those 4 chain-like appendages that remind me of Chains of Olympus from God of War, and his intimidating curled horns really make him stand out. The turf wars with this guy are going to be incredible. I can't wait to see them all unfold. Honestly, I'm more excited to watch him clash with other monsters than to fight him myself, and I mean that in the best way possible. Overall, I'm thrilled to have him as the flagship monster of Monster Hunter Wilds. I didn't know what to expect, but I definitely didn't see a chain-wielding enraged flying wyvern coming. I have a feeling he might end up being classified as an elder dragon, but for now, I'm just calling him a flying wyvern since we don't really know what he is yet. The final rating for Arkveld's visual design will be receiving a score of 9.8 out of 10. Fellow hunters, what do you think about my Arkveld's final visual design rating? Do you believe that it is a fair score or not, and why? What would you rate him for visual design? I hope you enjoyed this episode of rating the visual design of X Monster for Monster Hunter Wilds. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe with notifications turned on. Peace out and happy hunting.